This is a roll of Kodak Portra 800.
This roll led me on a 2-year journey.
I waited 1 year for this. Batteries dead. Woo! In Finland again. One last picture.
Package delivery.
I've been out here in the western US wilderness so often by now it has become almost a ritual. The first thing I do before anything else, I go to the nearest gas station and get a Gatorade that has the fanciest color. But I don't drink it at night because I'm afraid it will glow in the dark. And the second thing is on the next morning at 10:30 a.m. sharp, I go to In-N-Out and get my breakfast lunch burger. And then the third thing, I come out somewhere in the wilderness, somewhere in the desert, and I film. Okay. Okay. Monologue like this one. And every single time I think, this is the time, this is the one that I'm going to use, this is the version that will end up in the video. And maybe this time it is. It has been about 10 years since I first came into the Arizona wilderness, and a couple of years ago when I first got interested into astrophotography, I knew this was the place to be. So for years I've been planning to come here, to this area, and it looks like finally I got the perfect conditions.
The vast remote backcountry has skies so dark and clear, even tiny smartphone sensors can capture a clear Milky Way. And even under the light pollution dome, it rises faintly.
But this isn't just about astrophotography. Really, it is about this. This is the oldest gear I own, and it has been with me on journeys halfway the distance to the moon by now. This is also what brought me the joy in the art of photography in the first place. Something that I kind of lost.
I did experiment with a brand new film with a chemical composition created from scratch without Kodak or Fuji, fittingly called Phoenix. The film lab doesn't really know how to handle the new stock, so the scans look like from a radioactive wasteland.
I remember the moment quite vividly when, for the first time after months of trying and failing, I finally saw at the back of my camera screen the Milky Way, straight out of camera raw, without any editing. There it is. I would describe the moment as serendipity, as a joy for some great achievement. Since then I've been to a lot of places all over with better gear and better conditions, better lighting. And I haven't even come close to that feeling. So after I finished my first project capturing the Milky Way, I thought it would be a nice challenge to try the same and capture the Milky Way in some remote area on film. So I ordered a high sensitive film, the Kodak Portra 800, and tried to see what I could come up with.
I planned around an epic foreground, and it looked promising. Even though it was incredibly cloudy, the Milky Way did peek out behind the clouds. But my attempt on film was very underwhelming. I did not expose long enough and used a film that wasn't supposed to be pushed so hard, literally. So, in still good hope, I picked up another roll of film and set out weeks later to try again. But, despite Photoshop, weather should not be on my side. Even though, in its own right, I froze an incredible moment in time by sheer luck.
Frustratingly, I think it's because in order to get that sense of achievement, you need to fail over and over again until you finally get it right.
Earth rotates about 15 degrees per hour, which may not seem fast, or even appear stationary, to the naked eye. But 20 seconds is generally already long enough to start seeing blurry stars turning into star trails. To get a proper exposure on film, a shutter time of 5 to 10 minutes, or even beyond, is required, which is too much for a static camera. Luckily, there are star trackers that counter-rotate to Earth, keeping the sky steady while only blurring the foreground.
So I finally got a small tracker to get cleaner and longer exposures, especially for film. And while I did capture the cleanest Milky Way digitally, and a nice time-lapse up until the moon came out, somehow the film camera failed to keep the shutter open. A 2-hour-long star trail did work on film and turned out quite well, and I did capture one Milky Way exposure on a black and white roll, which turned out okay, but I wasn't satisfied yet.
It was Casey Neistat who created a movie about Tenacity, and he said,
"No one else has anything invested in this. No one cares if you do it or don't do it. To the world, this pursuit is just your cute little hobby."
Getting the Milky Way on film is so much harder than any digital photography, because everything has to be right. You need to get the right lens, the right exposure time, the right reciprocity failure, the right film, and because you need a much longer exposure, anything that comes in between, any car headlight that jumps by, ruins the entire shot. And to be honest, I had a bunch of camera failures that may or may not be my fault. Again, no shutter. But it just added almost the same amount of frustration into all the failed attempts than I had my original Milky Way journey. Now, I don't remember where I saw it exactly, so I can't give credit, unfortunately, but there was an arts professor who was giving an introductory class into photography. And in the first session, he was reciting some of the problems that complaints that he heard from first semester students in the years before. Like, they didn't have a great budget, they didn't have the right lenses, autofocus wasn't reliable enough, they couldn't afford expensive cameras. He put up a bunch of photos on the wall behind him, like 4 or 5 black and white photos from the invasion of Normandy Beach, taken from inside the landing crafts that were landing on the beaches. He explained a couple of conditions that the photographers back then had to endure, like rocking boats in the waves. It was a cloudy, overcast, rainy day with very bad lighting conditions. And on top of everything, they were actively being shot at by German machine gun fire. So you can imagine it's probably the most adverse conditions that you can have as a photographer. And still, the photos that he put up with were all tech sharp, in perfect focus,
and really literally made for history books. And then turned around to his students and said, if those photographers could take in those exceptional photos, then what excuse do you have? I thought a lot about this, and really this kind of gave me the final motivation to take my last roll of film and just go for it. Now just waiting for nighttime. Places that photography takes you. But this isn't about photography or film photography or even astro film photography. This is really about something much deeper.